Alright guys, let's start the session. So before starting, do any of you have any idea what is JavaScript? Yeah, you are correct up to a certain point. Okay, just a minute, let me present my screen. So I'll be teaching you JavaScript from developer MDN docs. Basically, MDN web docs is like W3 schools, which is provided by Mozilla. So let us start the session. So what is JavaScript basically? JavaScript is versatile and beginner friendly, and it allows, as you can see in the bullet points, that it helps in browser application interfaces, APIs, and like you can use it to build certain APIs and integrate it with HTML and CSS. Basically, JavaScript का काम क्या है? It basically helps you to add what you call that interactivity to the website. So, for example, let me show you an example. Just a minute. Like you must have built a form using HTML and CSS, but when you validate a form, then in that part you use JavaScript. For example, here I enter my username Abhir and email ID, password anonymously 6. Like I have a rule in this password that it should be minimum 6 characters, and the password and the confirmed password should match. So in case, for example, firstly I enter 5 digits only and submit it, then it here comes that passwords must be at least 6 characters. So like you, the main reasoning part that you add in the your website, that you can do using JavaScript only, right? So this is the part where you use JavaScript and add many more things, like you make it much more interactive as much as you can to you make it as much as interactive as you can to add functionality and many more things to your website, right? So uh, in JavaScript, basically you like if you are using VS Code, then I would like to suggest some extensions that are there in VS Code. So the main extensions that I use are this bracket pair, ES7, React Redux, ESLint. Basically, you can go through the description of these. Firstly, you can install and go through these descriptions on clicking them and reading about them, that what all they do. And if you need any help, you can ask me or Soumya sir whenever you get stuck or something else. And one more extension, JavaScript ES6 and live server. This one is very good because it helps you to what you call that, it helps you to work side by side, like whatever changes you make here in your HTML or CSS part or JavaScript, they are automatically reflected in your web page. Like you don't need to keep refreshing on your web page to see the changes. Like till now you must have been doing it to after adding changes and then refreshing the page, but using the live server you can pretty easily interact with your code and website side by side. the changes will be automatically shown to you, and you can do it very nicely, right? So now let us start with the JavaScript variables. I'll be teaching you ES6, right, or ES 2015. Basically in ES6, in JavaScript ES6 we have two variables only. Like in C++, you have different variables for integers and strings. You have integer int, and for strings you have char and all that. But in JavaScript you can use only let to define integers also, strings also, and objects also, right? So let me show you an example. in ja- in JavaScript variables, you basically have two what you call variables, const and let. With the name const, you can easily understand that it is used to declare constant variables whose value cannot be manipulated once they are declared, right? So let me show both of you. Like a equals to 5, let b equals to some string hi, right? And for printing in this Chrome, you would basically have a Chrome console. Here is the console where we'll be seeing the output of whatever I want to see. Like let a is equals to 5 and let b is equals to hi, then I can print both simultaneously using console.log a plus b. Here I can see 5 high. Basically I have not given any space. Just a minute. You can also, while printing the value, you can also use strings and many more things in JavaScript very easily. Just combine them using the plus sign. It is very easy to output all the content and all that in JavaScript. Like you have much more rules in C++ for all that stuff, but in JavaScript you can use it very freehandly. I don't know where the space has come. Okay, let it be. So basically you have seen that how this let works, and like now if I change the value of let, like a is equals to 6, then I'll get 6 high. Now if you use const instead of let, you will get an error that assignment to constant variable. Basically वही जो मैंने पहले बोला था, that the value of the constant variable cannot be changed once declared. And also one thing to mention, that you can change this value, like if you have declared let a is equals to 5, then later onwards also you can do a is equals to high or something else. Like you can directly convert it into a string if you want. You don't need any kind of converter to do it for you, right? So here you can see the example also. Basic. Do not, let me not come to the functions first. Okay, firstly let me teach you this block statements. Has anyone heard of local variable, global variable? Huh? So block statements basically signifies to that part only. Like for example, if I use let a is equals to 5, let b equals to 6, and after that I use two curly braces. This basically signifies block statements. And in this, if I declare let a equals to 5 and I console.log value of a plus b, here. Alright, so using block statements, you can see that the concept of local variable and global variable is signified. That if you declare anything in the block statement, then its value is not reflected outside those block statements, and the global value is always used outside of the block statements and not well, it is default that it can be used inside also until you declare another variable, another same variable, like a is declared here with the same value, sorry, with a different value, and you console and you print that value using console.log. So then it will display a different output, and when the control comes out of the block statements, then it again takes the default value and prints it to the console. Let me see if there is anything else in the block statements. ए और बी की सेपरेट मतलब क्या, हाँ हाँ, उसके लिए अलग अलग ही लिखना पड़ेगा, console.log ए और console.log बी, दोनों अलग अलग प्रिंट करने के लिए. Alright, after this concept tool, after this we are coming to arrays. So in arrays are same only like you have in C++. Some things are different, like no, all things are same except the way you declare it using let and const. This thing is very useful, like if you want to use the length, firstly let me, you want to declare an array, for example, then empty array, you can declare it like this, and after this you can push values in this array using, like you can use a dot push equals to 8, and then if I console.log the value of a, I'll get 8. Here basically you can also initialize the array with default values also, but I would prefer, like if you after declaring you want to push assign some values, then you can either assign it using push, or you can simply loop through the array and assign the values. You can like set a default limit of the array and then push values using a for loop. I'll be telling you loops once I'll be coming to that. Alright, and like you can use push to push different values in the array. A dot, and it can consist of any data types. Like it can consist of integer, strings, objects at the same time. Like if in C++ you can declare only an integer array or a character array at one particular time, and in those you cannot have different values like a string and an integer in the same array. But in JavaScript you can have it very simply. Now if I see the output, then I can see that it contains key also and that also. Okay, now let us study objects. Object क्या होता है basically? Object is like you can use a single variable to declare many values. Like an object contains key value pairs. Let me show you an example. Like here what I have done is I have used a single variable const, or I can use let also, and in it I can use different variables. Like I have used n1, so n1 here is my key. What does key signify? Key is an identifying element that signifies a particular value inside a variable. Like in the bar variable here I have used n1 as the key, and n1 has a value of 12, so n1 and 12 signifies one key value pair. And similarly here n2 is another key and it has the value of high, and n3 here has the value of 23. So like you can use different key value pairs to create different objects, and you can store many values in them, and they have a very extensive use when you are working in a proper project on JavaScript. That will cover up later. That will be covered up later by Soumya sir. All right. Any doubts? यूजर इनपुट हो सकता है. इसमें like you have declared a simple array, object, and after that you want like any key, then you signify it uh, n1 equals to 2. Hmm. अच्छा. That alert and prompt functions I will be telling after this. So I'll cover up this part that time. चलो मैं बता ही देता हूँ alert और prompt. Basically, if you want to take some user input, then you can use prompt to take it. For example, I declare let a be, and then I use let me first show you what is prompt function and alert function. Like now, if you want to take some input from the user, then you can simply declare a variable. Here I have declared, huh? But man, I'll just show them that how you can take the input and output the value in the console. Is it okay? So here, like I want to take the value of a, I'll write a equals to prompt enter a, similarly for b. After that, if I want to, like, let me show you the alert function also, or Rento Soumya sir will cover it. So like now I can input the values, like for example say a की value 3, b की value 5. कंसोल बन गया, कंसोल में क्यों नहीं आई? हाँ चलो ठीक है, वो एसिंक वाला पार्ट है ना, चलो एसिंक वाला तुम ही कवर कर लेना, ठीक है। ये तो एरे हो गया था। एंड ऑब्जेक्ट, ऑब्जेक्ट में लाइक बेसिक आइडिया तो हो गया ना, लाइक this is one more way of creating objects. Like here they have used var keyword, so was basically used before ES6. Like before let, var is similar to let only. Like you can use var for different purposes, and you can manipulate its value. Basically let के जैसा ही है totally, except a few changes that will be covered by Soumya sir. And like you can create a new object using new keyword and object, specifying what you want to create. So you create here let my car equals to new object, and you want to assign key value pairs using the variable itself. So you can write mycar.make equals to Ford. This will be one key value pair. Mycar.model will be second key value pair, and mycar.year will be the third key value pair. It basically, like you are writing the values here in the system, it will be stored as like this. Let me show you. Here let me change the keyword to var let, sorry. Here, so basically it is pretty much similar. You can what do you call that, you can assign different values using this method also in the key value pairs in objects, so the output will be same only. And now let us cover objects. Now let us come on functions. So basically in functions, function में basically क्या है, like you need to just use the keyword function to declare the function, but in ES6 we have one more technique that is called arrow functions. I'll be covering up the difference a little later. Firstly, let me show you the working of functions. Like in this example, you have created a function. Till now, have you studied functions? Okay. So you all must be having some idea that what are functions. So basically using functions, like you have declared a function here, the object, and here I have an object my car, where my car equals to make Honda, a key value pair make Honda, model has occurred year 1998, and then you have declared two variables where x and y, and x has the value of the key of make, mycar.make. here x gets the value Honda, and here you have called the function my car. So basically what have you done here? You have passed the object here in the object, and here you have changed the value of that particular key to Toyota, and here you have assigned that value to Y. So let me show you the working also. Here, like I said, firstly, how this function works here. When I've declared the object make, then we have a particular set of key value pairs defined in the mycar object, and then what has been done, the value of x is assigned through the object mycar.make. It has the value of Honda, and then in the function call, the object is passed and the make key is value is changed to Toyota, and then that value is assigned to Y here. And like here, if you, for example, like in C++, if you declare the function below then and call the function above, then it gives an error. This thing I think most of you must be knowing, right? Like if you declare the function below and call the function above before it is declared, then it throws an error in C++, right? Yeah, but in JavaScript you can declare it anywhere in the program, because when the function is called, then the compilation takes place from the first line itself. Like, let me show you. Like I have declared the function below here, then also I will not get any error. I will get the output. Let me refresh also. I will not get any error. So in JavaScript you have this benefit also, that wherever you declare your function or call your function, it does not matter. It is just necessary that the function should be declared and it should be called, no matter where the function is and no matter where you have called it. Okay, so functions में ये तो हो गया. I think you must be knowing about the return keyword also. How does return keyword work? For if you want to return any value, then you simply take a variable and return whatever operation you do, and then assign it to a variable in that particular function or global context. So let me tell you about arrow functions. Let me modify here itself only. So basically what I had modified, that I have declared a variable let myfunc equals to, I have passed a certain object, like because I've called, when I've made a function call, then I've passed this my car object. So I have an object, and this is the main thing. This is why it is called an arrow function, because it points an arrow towards the function, and then we make the changes whatever we want to do it in the function itself. So now let me show you the output. Okay, so basically in arrow functions there is a problem that it has the same problem like you have in C++. Like you cannot declare it before it is initialized. If you want that benefit in JavaScript, which you can declare it anywhere else in the program or use it anywhere else in the function call, then you have to declare it, the function using function keyword only. But when you are using arrow functions, you need to declare it before the function call, so that the control knows that there is some function named as myfunc, and then you have used it to to perform some operation. So this is one disadvantage of the arrow functions over the function keyword. Now let me tell you a little bit of difference between the arrow functions and function keyword. So basically in arrow functions, basically a local value is used. Let me show you the difference. Also, one thing in arrow functions that you can use, if you are using only one value, then you do not need to specify the round brackets. You can simply pass it as like this, the object and arrow functions. But if you are signifying, if you are specifying two or more values, then you have to use the round brackets and pass the values accordingly in the function. Alright, so after this, I was telling you the differences, a little bit of difference between arrow functions and function keyword. So like for example, you have a function like basically there is something called a this keyword in JavaScript also, as you may have heard in C++. So basically when you are changing here something called there is something called global context. So what does global signify here? It means that it points to the topmost what do you call that, topmost position of the program. Like in you can specify, like I can use the example of global variable and local variable. Like if you use this function keyword and declare any function and you make use of this keyword in it, then that specified this keyword points to the global variable or global context. What is global context is similar to global variable only in some ways, like it points to the topmost position, and it does uh, यही है डिफरेंस इसमें कि लाइक इट points to the global part. And if you use arrow functions to make you and use this keyword in this part, in the function part, then it points to the value that it contains. This keyword की जो भी value वो contain कर रहा है, it points to the local variable. So two things to be noted. If this keyword is used in arrow functions, then it points to the local context. Means the value that is defined within the function, it points to those values, right? So local variable, and for a reference, local variable. Like in local variable, if you have any value defined in block statements, then like for example you have let a is equals to 5 in the block statements, then that value is used can be used in the block statements only and not outside the block statements. But if this example is similar to this keyword, for example, if in the arrow functions you have used this keyword and have defined some variables, like for example, let a is equals to 5 or something else, and have used this keyword, then this variable will point to the value in that is declared within the function and not outside the function. Like for example, you have any value like let a is equals to 5 is defined globally, and let a is equals to 5 is defined within the function or within an object. Alright, so if you have a particular value defined in an object or a function, and you have used arrow functions to manipulate or perform some operation within the function or that object, then this keyword points to that particular value defined within that function and not the global value. And if this keyword is used in a function declared using the function keyword, then it points to the global context. You need to remember these 2 points for the main difference between arrow functions and function keyword. If this keyword is used in arrow function, then it points to the local context. And for reference, local variable. You can remember it through the example of local variable and global variable. That what points to the global variable, and that part is used in global context, and what refers to the local variable, that points to the local context. Okay, so the difference is covered. Now let us come on loops. No, before that, conditional statements. The conditional statements are similar to what you have studied in C. Like if you want to check some condition for a particular value, then you use if, or if something else, then you use else. I don't think there is much explanation needed in this part. Also, when you are printing something in the console.log, then you can directly, if you are returning some kind of value, then you can directly call the function within the console.log. Okay. Switch. So switch statement, I think you all must have studied it. And in that you must have studied that you cannot use floating values and even strings to declare to like it cannot be used in using this cases. Only integer values or a single character value can be used for different options, for different cases, sorry, you want to create. But in JavaScript you can easily use a particular string value and assign. For example, here they have used papayas as some expression and defined some cases, oranges, mangoes, papayas, and accordingly the value that matches the expr variable, it is printed, and also default statement is also there. Here one more thing, uh, if you want to print some value, like let me show you. Here, like now you want to print the value of C. So one method is to write it like this. Like you want to print a message also, the value of C is plus C. One way is this, and another way, if you want to mention the value in the strings itself, then you can use console.log the value of C is, firstly you need to use $sign and then two curly braces. Just a minute. Oh, sorry, I forgot. You need to use template literals if you want to use the $sign with this. So you cannot use double quotes whenever you want to print the value in a single string. You need to use template literals if you want to specify the if you want to specify some value along with the string message, that is string. Let me show you that they both of them will give the same output. See, both of them are giving the same output. So these are two methods which you can use to basically print the values of a particular variable or something. The template literals basically have a lot more use when you are working or designing JavaScript, when whenever you have certain options, whenever you have a select. In HTML you have select option tags, so whenever you create a list using those select and option tags, then in that, if you want to mention many values, then these template literals are pretty much useful when you loop through them and shows many values. All of this will be covered later onwards. Okay, the time is almost there, so let me just cover up for loops for today. For loops are pretty much similar to what you use in C language also. So simple ही है, मतलब I mean, for instead of that int you use let here, and let here instead of step you we all use I only. So for I, let I equals to 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus here, and it will run 5 times accordingly. Here, like I was telling you about one example of select and option. So like here you can see that a select, using select and option, certain values have been used. So for example, I am just telling you in short that although you may not be able to understand what I am telling you, like for example, you have select and options. You have 5 options: jazz, blues, new age, classical, opera. So for example, you have a certain variable or an array in which you have all of these values stored, and here you declare a certain procedure through which you print that value using template literals. When you loop through them, then different values can be printed. Like for example, here what they have done is तो चलो ये पार्ट मैं रहने देता हूँ, समझ में नहीं आएगा तुम लोगों के. while do while भी कर ही लेते हैं. While loop is also similar to the one used in C, C++, while n is equals to 3, and you can accordingly increment the value or decrement the value as you use it. The method through which you declare it also, you can use it. It is pretty similar to that only. And do while loop also. In do while loop, basically it is also similar to that one, that basically in do while loop is different from while loop, that basically before checking a particular condition, the statement that is declared in the do while loop, it is executed at least once before checking the condition. So accordingly it works. So I think that's all for today. There are two more loops that need to be taught. Those two I will teach tomorrow. You guys having any doubts? Any doubts guys? कुछ भी समझ में ना आया हो मैं दोबारा एक्सप्लेन कर दूंगा. हेलो. हाँ. ये शुभम. ओके. ओके. हेलो विठल. यस. ना अगर एक बार लूप में अगर एक बार ब्रेक स्टेटमेंट डाल दोगे तो वो एक बार एग्जीक्यूट होने के बाद फिर वो स्टॉप हो जाएगा वाइल लूप भी. नो मतलब बेसिकली अगर तुम किसी लाइक इफ़ यू यूज एन इफ स्टेटमेंट ब्रेक करने के लिए, अगर हाँ फिर ब्रेक कर देगा उसके बाद फिर लूप आगे एग्जीक्यूट नहीं होगा. Any more doubts?